live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Hello, good morning. It is Friday, May 24th.
Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. We are getting ready for things to heat up a little earlier than, we normally get that triple-digit heat.
Dangerous heat and humidity. We know it can be a tough combination around here, Justin.
Very tough, especially for this time of year. And I know there's a lot going on this weekend. Some kids are out of school after today. We've got a lot of visitors to town, and you may have plans for Memorial Day weekend. So let's jump right into the forecast. I want to show you the time lapse. We've had cloudy skies all morning long. A few peaks of sun here and there, but not many. We'll see more as the day wears on. Right now, 81. Still technically cloudy at the airport, but it feels like 86. Still humid, still warm, and it gets hot this afternoon. The heat index is where we really get into some issues here. So we're forecasting 97 at 3 o'clock, but look at the feels like number, 108. That's starting to approach that danger level. And the heat index is going to stay somewhere in that range, 105 to 110, probably through about 7 o'clock. So any outdoor activities, you know the drill. And skies will be partly cloudy. Hey, if you're traveling today, here's a look at the travel forecast. Most of Texas is going to be just fine. The one area I'd say to watch out for would be up I-35 towards Dallas, where there is a small chance of some strong storms up there. Otherwise, most of Texas is dealing with what we're dealing with, and that is heat. You go down to the valley, 99 with a heat index of 110. Could even be higher than that. And if you're flying today, there are no delays across the country, at least at the major airports. So all is well there, too. Good to see. And, of course, welcome to anyone who's traveling into San Antonio. We're going to talk much more about the rivers and lakes. We'll have an update there, and a lot of people will be visiting those this weekend. That's coming up here in just a couple minutes. Guys?
Thank you, Justin. Let's look out there with TransGuide. Of course, we're kind of familiar with this area. This is a shot at I-10 at Brazos, and this is because of the construction that's happening there, the bridge work on I-10. So a little slowdown there. Be aware of that when you're traveling this morning.
So that's at I-10 westbound at Frio. And then we have this construction that's been ongoing. This is 35 south at Fisher Road.
And let's look at today's 9 at 9.
Today marks 2 years since the deadly school shooting in Uvalde. Victims' families are still looking for answers and action. One federal investigation detailed, quote, cascading failures in the response to the shooting, while another local report exonerated police officers. On Wednesday, families of the victims announced another lawsuit against 92 individual DPS officers and several Uvalde CISD members.
SAWS unanimously approved changes to its rules for how its customers can water their lawns and how they're punished for heavy water usage during drought periods. Officials say that current drought restrictions are not doing enough to save water. They hope to have many of the proposed changes in place for much of this summer. The San Antonio City Council will vote on the proposals next month. If approved, new restrictions could go into effect immediately.
Today is the last day for early voting in the primary runoff election. Voters have one final chance to pick the candidates who will appear on the November ballot. Even if you don't vote in the March primary election, you can still vote in the runoff election. Early voting ends at 8 p.m. today. Election day is Tuesday. You can find polling locations and more information on KSAT.com.
2024 is rewriting the weather history books, and it's only May. This tornado season has been active with more than 800 twisters reported so far this year. Now, NOAA's National Hurricane Center says this could be one of the busiest hurricane seasons ever. That's largely due to the warmest ocean surface temperatures on record.
Boeing appears on track to meet the FAA's deadline to present quality control fixes for its assembly line. The plane manufacturer said it will present its plan next week. The FAA ordered the plan in late February after a door plug blew out of an airborne 737 MAX a month earlier.
Today is expected to be the busiest for air travel this holiday weekend. TSA is predicting that nearly 3 million people will pass through airports around the country. AAA is estimating that nearly 44 million people are going at least 50 miles away. There were widespread flight delays nationwide yesterday, more than 6,000 postponed flights on the East Coast, but relatively few cancellations.
Gas prices are down again. A gallon of regular unleaded falling to $3.58 a gallon last week. That's down from $3.67 a month earlier. It's also about 5% lower than the typical pre-Memorial Day prices since 2000. Federal record keepers note gas prices are down across the country. AAA says Vegas, Phoenix, and Sacramento enjoying some of the steepest price cuts.
The labor market is still strong. New jobless claims were down to 215,000 last week. That is the second weekly decline in a row. However, the housing market is losing momentum. The Commerce Department reported new home sales were off 4.7% in April. Analysts blame their higher mortgage rates and rising home prices for the loss.
The NCAA and the 5 power conferences have agreed to a settlement that paves the way for schools to pay student athletes. The agreement includes the payment of nearly $3 billion in damages to past and current athletes. The settlement still needs to be signed off by a judge, but if approved, schools can begin revenue sharing in the fall of 2025. And that's today's 9 at 9.
So we have celebrated now over 70 years of partnership.
Monterrey, Mexico is one of San Antonio's sister cities, and their relationship is only getting stronger.
Well, the two cities signed an agreement to collaborate on building a regional economic ecosystem targeting key sectors and industries.
KSAT's Tiffany Huertas tells us about the different projects in the works and how it's providing educational opportunities for students.
So let's start with, how did this collaboration with Monterrey, Mexico start?
Well, the sister city in our partnership with Monterrey is actually the prototype for sister city relationships in the entire United States. It predates Sister Cities International, which is the formal national organization that helps facilitate relationships between United States and cities overseas. Our relationship formally with Monterrey began in 1953.
San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg says Monterrey, Mexico and the Alamo City have a deep and rich history of friendship.
Our ancestries, our culture, our histories are all intertwined.
The relationship between the two cities continues to grow. Last year, Nirenberg led a delegation to Monterrey. And in November, the two mayors signed an agreement to work together to drive economic growth and bring more opportunities for their communities.
We signed a letter of intent on a few fronts. One of the manifestations of that was an agreement between UTSA and Tec de Monterrey on a dual master's program in cybersecurity, which has already enrolled its first cohort. We also created a partnership between our Alamo Community College District and Tech Milenio on a pathway to nursing program.
Some other areas they are focusing on include tourism, technology, and sustainability initiatives.
We also want to continue to foster the relationship that we've had economically, and we know that there's a tremendous amount of trade and foreign direct investment going to San Antonio and from San Antonio with Monterrey.
What does this mean for you to be able to work with Monterrey and the team over there?
Well, it's personally gratifying because I live in and lead a city that is intertwined with the heritage and history of Mexico. This used to be Mexico, and so the families that share our community are closely bonded to our neighbors and our family in Monterrey. The future of global security and our global prosperity happens largely in the relationships that we create, and one of the relationships that's critically important in this hemisphere and around the world is that between the United States and Mexico.
Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
Next week, a delegation from Monterrey will be visiting San Antonio. The group will be attending the All Americas Summit taking place at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center from Tuesday through Friday next week.
The event will bring more than 500 people from around the world to San Antonio who will build relationships through global networking and shape U.S. foreign relations with our city. We are hoping to have a preview of the event next week, so we're going to keep you posted.
907, 81 degrees, still ahead on GMSA at 9.
Well, our David Sears had quite the experience doing this Know My Neighborhood story. There's a lot of creativity going on in the Gray Forest area, and some landowners have come up with cool ways to help maintain their property.
As the city of Uvalde continues to heal 2 years after the deadly school shooting, work is underway to build a new elementary school there. We got a first-hand look at the progress being made, and we'll share that with you coming up a little bit later on.
Hi there. Let's look out there with live cam. We're up a little bit. We're around 79 degrees in the downtown area. Now we're up to 81. So you can see we're slowly climbing towards the 90s. Slowly right now. Then it will happen really fast the next couple of hours. I hear.
Those temperatures will jump up in a big way. We know it's going to be really hot this weekend, almost dangerous in some cases. But we also know for sure that people will be at rivers and lakes. Not a bad idea, although we do have to point out that the river levels are a little slow in spots. I looked at some of the flows, and all of them are pretty slow. It doesn't mean you can't go tubing, okay? Just know that it's going to take you a little bit longer because some of these flows are well, and I do mean well below average. Of course, the Comal is always flowing pretty well, but even that number is down a little bit. Of course, the Frio's been struggling too. So just plan for a little extra time on the rivers if you are going to be tubing. And let's look at some of the reservoir levels as well. Canyon, we know it's at historic lows here, 57.8% full, down 23 feet. Medina, 2.6, not a good number. All these numbers are down, honestly. Buchanan, down 11 feet, and LBJ is a steady level lake, so it stands to reason it's where it is. But just know that the lakes are low too, especially Canyon, Medina. You got to watch. Well, Medina, obviously, you're not going to be boating on Medina, but watch for stumps and stuff like that on the reservoir. So as we go outside for you, 81 degrees here in San Antonio, 82 New Braunfels, 82 in Seguin, 77 Bernie, 79 Kerrville. We've got winds out of the east and southeast. Humidity levels are really high. And we've got some morning clouds. Now, these are always tricky when and where they'll set up and how long they'll last. But it looks as though, like it has been the last couple of days, thickest clouds are off to the west, with a clearing line trying to move in west to east, and then some breaks as you go east of San Antonio. We've seen a few breaks here in town. Bottom line, heat's going to be really intense this afternoon. This is the forecast feels like number, so this is what it will feel like around 5 o'clock today, 108. Here in San Antonio. When you factor the heat and humidity together, it gets downright dangerous in places like Laredo, Corpus Christi, and Brownsville. These heat indices have prompted heat advisories. This does include San Antonio. You get into heat warnings as you go further south. Now, could we get any relief from some rain? It's not looking promising today. This is a severe weather risk, and there is actually a pretty significant risk as you go from Waco up to Dallas. It's just north of us, as it has been the last few days. And we look at our futurecast here, shows clouds burning off. We'll fast forward to 5 o'clock. Not much out there, but look what happens this evening. Shows some storms trying to flare up around the Austin area, and that's where most of the rain is going to be, if we're going to see any at all. I don't think we get any here in San Antonio, so we're going to leave rain chances today at 10%. If you are up around, say, Fredericksburg, New Braunfels, north of that, we'll watch for a storm or two. 98 degrees today, 99 Saturday, 100 Sunday. Again, the important thing to point out here, though, is the air temperatures, around 100, but the heat index is going to be 105 to 110. So say you are going to the river or the lake, hydrate, because it can catch up with you quickly. Memorial Day, still hot, 100. We do get a weak front in here, and that may spark off a shower or storm on Monday. And then as it sort of hangs around, we'll keep rain chances, small rain chances in there, and the temperatures thankfully cool down some, but we're talking mid-90s still, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Ziplining is closer than you think here in San Antonio. Yesterday, during our latest edition of Know My Neighborhood, our very own David Sears did a story about ziplining over the hilltops of Helotes.
So people who live in the Gray Forest area have found ways to maintain and preserve the land while allowing others to enjoy it. So in case you missed it, check out David's adventure.
About as close to flying that you're going to get without a plane or, parachute or anything like that.
You sit down in a harness, cross your legs, and then take off. A smooth ride down a cable that stretches hundreds of feet over the serene landscape of Helotes. You can zip along up to 42 miles an hour. May not sound fast, but it is.
And a lot of people go, well, that's not very fast. I said, well, let me strap you to the front of the car, and I'll accelerate to 40 miles an hour and hit the brakes, and we got to stop, and you tell me if it's not fast.
There are 10 lines, and that includes the practice run. You can take off from the ground or climb towers as tall as 110 feet to start your excursion, eventually ending up back at home base.
Not only is ziplining an incredible way to experience the beauty of the hill country, but it's also a very unique way to preserve this land that's been in this family for generations. Here we go.
My great-great-grandfather came over from, I believe, Poland, and then they purchased the property in smaller sections or smaller acreage, and then they had it mainly, I believe it was for farming and agricultural purposes.
By the time the Madla family finished buying land, they had 1,200 acres of hill country. Over the years, the land has been divided up and passed down. Some families sold theirs, others held on to theirs, which means sections have been in the family for 7 generations. In order to maintain it, Rodney Madla and his sister Michelle wanted to take 68 acres, create a financial impact for the family, while keeping the impact on the environment low.
Zipline is kind of a low impact as far as the land is concerned. We've looked at UTVs, ATVs, but it's kind of hard on the property. So ziplining, once you have your infrastructure in, it's pretty simple to maintain the land.
The zipline allows visitors to enjoy the isolation of the hill country. Magnificent 360-degree views.
A lot of wildlife out here that is being displaced because of the development, and so that being said, we try to at least maintain them.
There you go. They also offer another opportunity for guests to enjoy the great outdoors, a game rising in popularity, disc golf. It's the one form of entertainment that gives a great view and keeps you on the ground. After visitors have enjoyed a day of play, they can top it off with a seat and a drink at the beer garden. Woo! And then zip back another day to do it all over again.
All right, come on up. I got you. I'm getting closer every time. I got you. Step on up here. Keep stepping. Good job.
I know you guys might have missed it at 6 yesterday, but now I prefer to be referred to as Daredevil Dave, if that's okay.
Daredevil Dave.
It's well deserved.
I like it.
Yes, good job out
Thank
there.
you.
That was awesome.
It was a blast. What a great way to enjoy the hill country. I mean, obviously the hill country is beautiful. It's not that far. It's over there in Helotes.
Yeah.
And it's, there's 9 zip lines, and then there's the training zip line. You got to go through the, how you're supposed to brake and,
That's
hold
good.
your legs and, cross your legs, all that kind of stuff.
It's good to have that.
It's a little short one, but man, it's awesome.
The first video, I thought it was you going, ee, but it was the line as it's running down the cable that makes a noise.
Yeah.
It was a mix of me and the cable going,
Yeah.
The first couple of times, it kind of, takes your breath away a little bit, little anxious, a little nervous. But then after that, man, you just kind of settle in and take off. It was fantastic. And what a great way to enjoy the hill country and preserve it as well, because it's very, very small mark of them putting the towers up, not very much space at all, but man, you get to see the whole thing, and it was awesome.
It's fun.
It looks beautiful.
Great neighborhood.
Did it go by quick for you? Yeah.
We did most of them. We didn't do all 9 just because of time, but he said it takes about an hour and a half to go through all of them and enjoy them. And big groups come out there, small groups, just individuals, so whatever. So
next stop, skydiving.
Oh yeah, that's on the list. I don't know whose list that's on, but it's on a list of somebody.
Thank you, Dave.
Good fun.
Not my list.
Not yours?
No.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. 9:20 right now.
We'll be right back.
2 years ago today, the city of Uvalde changed forever. May 24th, 2022 was supposed to be a day full of end of school celebrations. Instead, 19 students and 2 teachers were killed after a gunman opened fire on Robb Elementary.
And as
the community
in Uvalde continues to heal, Robb Elementary sits empty. A new elementary school is being built about 2 miles away, and Uvalde CISD hopes to open it in the 2025-2026 school year.
John Brahmas got a first-hand look.
As construction moves forward on Uvalde CISD's newest school, so does the healing process for the community and the 21 families forever changed by the shooting at Robb Elementary on May 24th, 2022.
It's going to be a piece that will help the community of Uvalde move forward from the tragic events that happened 2 years ago.
Tim Miller with the Uvalde CISD Moving Forward Foundation says the new school will honor the lives lost while giving students who would have attended Robb a new home. John Marshall and his crew have that delicate task.
You said this is laying the foundation. For you and your team, how important is it to be able to lay the foundations for a new beginning for this city?
We're real mindful of what's going on here. And so to build a new elementary school, doesn't matter where it is important. Here in Uvalde, it matters just that much more.
A virtual tour takes you around the 25-acre campus that will house 800 students across 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grades. The project includes several tributes to the 19 students and 2 teachers forever remembered by their community.
One thing that stuck out to me was there's a lot of glass windows into the classrooms, given the situation that brought us here. Any thoughts behind the amount of visibility into each classroom?
Safety and security was one of the 3 core values that we focused on when we were designing this building. So this new school meets and exceeds the standards from the state.
The new school still needs a name and another $20 million to cover the $60 million project. But Miller's confident the job will get done.
By fall of 2025, the school will be built, and it will be a place that all children in Uvalde will be able to come to and attend.
John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
If you'd like to donate to the Uvalde CISD Elementary School project, we have a link on KSAT.com.
So we also asked about demolition plans for Robb Elementary. A school district spokeswoman told us that, quote, Robb Elementary School has not been released to the district for demolition due to ongoing litigation. Now adding that we understand the community's concern and eagerness for progress. However, it is important to recognize that discussions and decisions regarding demolition cannot proceed until all legal matters are resolved, end quote.
One of the survivors from that day was Arnulfo Reyes. He was a teacher at Robb and was injured in the shooting. 11 of the 19 students killed that day were his students.
Our Steve Spriester sat down with Mr. Reyes to talk about that horrible day, and we wanted to share some of their conversation.
When you think back to that day, what goes through your mind?
It just, all the tragedy that happened in so little time. Everything that it has affected my community. And I mean, like 3 minutes, in the first 3 minutes, I mean, has scarred my community so much, and I don't know how long that's gonna last, but I mean, it's affected my community really, really bad. So
you can watch the entire Spriester Sessions interview right now on KSAT.com and our YouTube channel. Arnulfo also talks about survivor's guilt and being honored with a teaching award by the group Lives Robbed.
We will be live in Uvalde later today, beginning on the news at noon, to remember the lives lost that day and to continue telling their stories.
We'll be right back with more news and weather after this. Welcome back, 9:30. During our conversations with neighbors in the Gray Forest area, we discovered there's one common thread throughout and maybe one common flow: water. People there are very conscientious about water, and for good reason.
Yes, and it has to do with where this neighborhood is situated. It turns out anything that happens there could affect the rest of San Antonio's drinking water.
Justin Horn explains how that's led to controversy, and despite not being within the city limits, why the city of San Antonio is involved.
We've been approached by developers ever since I can remember.
After all, properties along Scenic Loop are exactly that, scenic.
It's rural, it's peaceful, it's a natural setting.
And coveted.
The more I thought about it, the more I realized I didn't want to ever sell.
This 35-acre property has been Elisa Murray's Pax family for 60 years. And like many of her neighbors, she's intent on preserving the natural beauty of her property. And because you're doing that, people in San Antonio have clean drinking water, right?
Yes. Very obviously, they benefit from my stewardship.
With this in mind, for decades now, the city of San Antonio has been running the Edwards Aquifer Protection Program. In very simple terms, the city buys up, for many years with taxpayer money, easements over the contributing and recharge zones of the aquifer from Bexar to Uvalde County. It means the landowners keep the land, but promise not to sell it to developers or add anything that would contaminate the water below. By most accounts, it's been a success story.
We have over almost 130 conservation easements now, over 182,000 acres over a 6-county target area.
So when Lisa was approached to join,
no brainer at all, just immediately.
This is Lotus Creek, and that's why this property is so important. In many cases, this is a direct portal to the aquifer. Water feeds right into it. It's also why the city thought this property was so important to be part of the program.
Lisa's property in particular has quite a bit of frontage along Lotus Creek, so whatever's happening on her property matters to the quality of the aquifer just downstream.
While several other neighbors are also in the Aquifer Protection Program, not everyone has taken this path. Keep in mind, developers will pay big money. Recently, reporter Patty Santos highlighted a controversial potential development along Scenic Loop led by Lennar Homes. It called for thousands of houses to be built on Guajolote Ranch.
Plans for a new neighborhood call for more than 1 million gallons of treated wastewater to be dumped behind Michael Schick's house, but only if the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality approves the permit.
And it's not just people who live downstream in Gray Forest or in Helotes. It's affecting the water of 2 million people in San Antonio.
Why would you allow one hand of your governing body to spend all this money, taxpayer money, to protect the water, and then turn around on the other hand and allow somebody to come in and mess it up?
It's a topic neighbors here are passionate about.
And you have all this impervious cover, you destroy the trees, you are going to add at least 1 million gallons of wastewater a day down the creek.
It's no surprise that water is at the heart of this debate, and this neighborhood is not backing down. And you guys are going to keep fighting this.
Oh, absolutely.
And we should note, it's not just neighbors that are opposed to this. Mayor Ron Nirenberg has spoke out against the development, or at least has some concerns about it, I should say. And so there's still some things to be worked out before anything moves forward, and we'll certainly keep you updated. We're speaking about that Lennar home development at Guajolote Ranch, which is a concern for the people that live there in Scenic Oaks.
Oh, we have known for decades that water was going to become one of our top issues, and we're in it now.
Yes, we are. And water it's almost like the new oil in Texas.
Yes.
It's becoming extremely valuable, and it's going to be more regulated, I think, in the future, even more so than it already is now. And it's got to be watched closely.
Well, we could use some help from Mother Nature for sure.
That would be helpful. Maybe a good rainfall would really help things. It's been a while since we've had one of those good flooding rains, and there's not much in the forecast. I'll just go ahead and tell you that right off the top. Let's look at the Memorial Day weekend forecast. 99 Saturday, 100 Sunday, 100 Monday. There is a slight chance of a storm for Memorial Day, but it would be in the evening, and that's not before we get up to around 100 degrees. Heat indices are going to be 105 to 110 all 3 days. So heat really is the big concern here as we get into the weekend. Want to show you the pollen count. Molds are moderate today. They did jump up 580. Grass and pigweed are low. And I wanted to show you this. This is interesting. The air quality are some of the sensors down here around Corpus Christi this morning showing some not so great air quality just to our south. We're going to watch that. It probably stays south of us, but we certainly could see some of this more unhealthy air work its way up towards San Antonio. In the forecast for the next couple of days, because we still have smoke and agricultural fires going on Central America and Mexico, some of that smoke is funneling up here. And so we're going to be in the unhealthy category for those who are sensitive to that kind of thing, not only today, but into the weekend as well. Guys.
Thank you, Justin. Now looking over here where there was construction, now the traffic is really building up at I-35 at Fisher Road.
The southbound lanes of 35 down there. We'll keep an eye on it for you. The trial of Daniel Garcia continues this morning here in San Antonio. He's accused of beating 5-year-old Dominic Aguilar Acevedo to death in 2021. Yesterday, the jury saw the Colorado ravine where Dominic's body was found after he had died here in San Antonio. They also heard from FBI agents who described how the little boy's body was recovered. An agent said they had to use a rope to rappel down into the ravine to find Dominic's remains.
Our Eric Hernandez is in the courtroom again for us today, and we are live streaming this trial from beginning to end. You can watch it all on KSAT streaming platforms, and Erica will have a recap of today's testimony in the later newscast. Now, if Garcia is found guilty, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars.
This weekend, a lot of people may be heading to a nearby lake or river to cool off, and Texas game wardens are reminding people to think of safety first.
Well, last year there were around 90 drownings in Texas. Some were here in Bexar County, and some were in Comal and Uvalde County.
Patty Santos with a quick reminder for those boating this weekend.
Out at Calaveras Lake, game wardens like Patrick Troop are going to be extra cautious of boaters.
During Memorial Day weekend, we'll have plenty of patrolling out, making sure that we're providing safety and help with the public.
Wardens will be stopping boats looking for these 5 things. First, ensuring there's a life jacket for everyone on board. Kids under 13 must be wearing the jacket when the boat is not docked.
If they're children, you're going to need a smaller one that specifically fits a child. What you really need to do is you need to look inside of these and take a look, and it'll tell you youth, it'll tell you chest size, and it'll tell you what the weight is.
Second thing, your boat must have a Type 4 throwable device.
Which is your throw cushion. Each vessel needs one of these.
Third, have a horn or a whistle. 4, an updated registration card for the vessel.
The stickers on the front of the boat, it tells you what date the vessel is registered for.
And 5, a fire extinguisher.
Do yourself a favor before y'all go out, make sure that you have all these 5 items on your boat.
And one last reminder, make sure you clip on that kill switch.
If you're operating the vessel, you need to have a kill switch attached to your body.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Game wardens also want to remind those operating the boats that they must keep their alcohol level under the .08 legal limit, and don't forget to pick up your trash.
All right, let's look out there with Zoo Cam. It's up and running. That's very good. Look at our friends, the flamingos out there. And to match this beautiful shot there of the zoo, wanted to thank San Juana Hidrogo for making this for us. She says she's a fan of Flamingo Cam, essentially Zoo Cam, really. And so this is really cute. If you can kind of see, it says KSAT Zoo Cam in a fancy flamingo.
I love it.
In the middle.
Also love the letter she sent to us. I'm going to cover up her address here. But look at the beautiful handwriting.
It's nice handwriting.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
a lot of us, older folks can appreciate wonderful cursive, right?
It looks really good. I'm down to printing everything at this point.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yes, but San Juana, thank you so much.
Yes,
we
thank
appreciate it. And we love talking about the flamingos, don't we?
We do. We do. Right now it's 9:39, 82 degrees. You're watching GMSA at 9.
So it is the last home game of the regular season for the Brahmas this weekend. Coming up, David Sears is going to talk about their matchup and how you can score a free shirt. Welcome back. Let's look out there with live cam. We're up to 82 degrees and keep climbing. We'll be climbing throughout the weekend, but we're going to talk about this later. Maybe it's a good day to be inside the Alamo Dome and support the Brahmas.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Game day tomorrow.
Yeah. Yes.
Last home game. We'll talk more about that coming up. David Steers is standing by with that.
He's ready.
And we have some of the brightest T-shirts I've seen in my life.
Can't wait. Can't wait. It's exciting football. Yeah, it's a good place to be inside because we know the heat's going to be really cranking up. And by the way, yesterday, guys, NOAA put out their hurricane forecast. And you probably heard something about this because the forecast is not a great one. NOAA is calling for 17 to 25 named storms. That's above average. Look at the average, 14. Hurricanes 8 to 13 and major storms 4 to 7. That is a well above average season. Colorado State, who puts out a forecast as well, is thinking similar things here. 23 named storms, 11 hurricanes, 5 major storms. You're probably asking, well, why? What is it that they're seeing that would lend itself to a busier season? Well, the biggest part of this, I think, are water temperatures. You go out over the Atlantic and the Caribbean. These waters are as warm now as they should be, say, in the middle of summer. So we've already got really warm water, and it's only going to get warmer, and this is what fuels hurricanes. So that's one part of it. The other part is that while we've been in El Nino, we are switching back to La Nina, which tends to allow for a busier hurricane season. So a couple things coming together here. Does that mean that Texas is going to get a hurricane? No. There's thousands of miles of coastline. and hurricanes can stay out over the open water and never hit land. So there's still a lot involved as to whether or not we would benefit from a busier season. But we'll certainly keep watch on it most of the summer and see what comes out of that. 81 degrees right now in San Antonio, 82 New Braunfels, still in the 70s in Bernie, but hot and humid no matter where you go. Cloud cover is thick off to the west. We're still getting overcast skies from Uvalde along Highway 90 outside of San Antonio. And actually, clouds are thickening back up here in town as we speak. But in general, by the afternoon, these clouds will break apart just like they've done last few days, and that will give us temperatures eventually into the 90s. 97, 3 o'clock, 98, 4 p.m. But it's the feels like number that becomes most important later today. A lot of humidity. Feels like number is going to be around 108 by the afternoon hours. That is dangerous heat. And we'll see heat indices 100 plus probably into the evening. So there's really not much relief. And the heat alerts are out. We have heat advisories for San Antonio up to Austin. You get down into deep South Texas, these become heat warnings because heat indices there could be 110 plus. Now all this heat and humidity will allow for some thunderstorms today, just not here, I don't think. Austin up to Dallas, that's the corridor where severe weather is a good possibility. And as we look at the futurecast here, it does show a couple of storms may try to flare up north of San Antonio this evening. I know you can't really see it there, but the top of your screen, we're talking up towards north of Austin, where we could see a couple of storms, say around 8 o'clock or so, but we just aren't expecting a lot here in San Antonio. So our forecast today, 98 degrees, 99 Saturday, 100 Sunday. We get the thick humidity, so heat indices will be 105 plus all weekend long. By Monday, a weak frontal boundary could spark off a storm or two and cool us down slightly as we get into next week. We'll keep rain chances in too all the way through Thursday, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Well, big weekend for the San Antonio Brahmas. They got into the UFL playoffs last week, but they still have a chance to win their division.
And they are honoring our military this weekend for Memorial Day weekend. And once again, David Sears joins us with more details on that.
Yeah, there is a lot going on in the Dome tomorrow afternoon. As y'all been talking about, it's going to be hot. Might as well be there. So let's start with the game and just how big it is for San Antonio. Last week they held on for a win. That put them in the playoffs, but they are not done yet. They are tied with St. Louis for the lead in their division. That means that they still have a chance to win the XFL division, but they need to win tomorrow against Birmingham. The Stallions have the best record in the league, so their work is cut out for them. But when you got dudes like these guys, you got a huge chance. Remember earlier in the week, we got to go down to the Dome and visit with some of the players. Yeah, see how big they are? There's actually somebody, see, standing behind. That's how big those dudes are, man. They were like huge guys. So they got a great chance with guys like that. Got a lot of talent on this team. They've got leads and lost them and had to come back. Then they've been like behind early. So they've been in all kinds of different scenarios game-wise. So they should be ready for anything that Birmingham throws at them tomorrow. But Birmingham's a pretty good ball club. So that one's at 2 o'clock in the Dome. And you can also see that game live right here on KSAT 12. Now, tomorrow's also going to be a special day for this weekend. Is Memorial Day weekend. But they are also honoring our military. Now, their colors are yellow and black.
Right.
And, of course, if you're in the military, you understand that yellow, and even in other situations, that put yellow ribbons out, wear yellow ribbons, and that's in honor of the people that are off fighting for us, and hope they come back. So that's what that shirt represents. And of course, we are Military City, USA.
We are.
So they got a special deal on tickets and the T-shirt that you can get. You can see this T-shirt says, "Hats off to our heroes and Military City, USA," right there. So
I love the branding
weekend.
on it.
So,
So there's a special deal. So you get a ticket and a shirt.
And a shirt.
Yeah.
So I think their website is on there, like. It's on the banner right there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't
there
want
you go.
I can't read all that.
FIVO.me/yellowout. And the promo code is yellow. And it's definitely yellow for sure.
So they're honoring the military, so that's good. And they're also looking for a chance to win the division. So that's even gooder. So they got a lot going on tomorrow. So what a great day to go to the Dome at 2 o'clock. What else is going on? Anything else going on tomorrow?
That's kind of the big thing
Go
for
support
sure.
the Brahmas,
So the UFL Conference Championship is a question mark, but the XFL Conference is set.
Yeah, we know what that is, but
Yeah.
because San Antonio could still win the division. And
Yeah.
That's
so
exciting.
that'll change things. So,
XFL championship, June 9th, Brahmas, wait. Oh, that is the conference championship. I messed all that up. Never
That's
mind, don't
okay.
listen to me.
That one's to be announced.
so they still play St. Louis next week.
Okay.
Okay.
But
So
we
that
don't,
one could
we don't know
change things.
where.
St. Louis. That one's still a home. That one's in St. Louis.
Oh,
That's
that
the
was
last
in St.
year.
Louis.
So
We're
they have
talking.
two regular season. Okay.
There you go. Break it down.
All right,
Break it down.
Here we go. So we're going to go down here. You're going to start here, and you're going to go out here and do this. You're going to do a little button hook. And then Mark's going to snap the ball, and he's going to turn around. And if the defense rushes, then I'm just going to throw it to him. But if they don't rush, then I got time. Then I'll throw it to you on the little button hook over there. That'll be 10 yards.
All right, got it.
Somebody's going to
We're
get
gonna-
hurt.
we're
and
gonna
it's-
win.
It's not you, Steph.
Someone's going to get hurt.
Thank you, Dave.
We're just,
Orange forward.
we're just drawing plays in the sand. Come on.
Orange forward.
Come on, David. There you go.
9:51, 82 degrees. Let's make it. Let's fill the dome
Yes.
with yellow tomorrow.
Yes, yellow out. We'll be right back.
We want to remind you that early voting is still going on for the primary runoff election. Polls are open now through 8 o'clock tonight, and today is your last day to vote early. If you scan the QR code on your screen with your phone, it will take you directly to our election section of KSAT.com.
Well, even if you didn't vote in March, you can still vote in the runoff election. We have a list of polling locations on our website, and Election Day is Tuesday.
A couple updates on TransGuide. We've still got problems with construction and some slight delays at I-10 westbound at Brazos. But good news, 35 south at Fisher. That construction has wrapped up finally, and all the lanes are moving as they should.
It looks much better there.
And still cloudy out there, so that always helps keep temperatures from just getting out of control, at least early in the day. We still think it'll be hot this afternoon, 98, 99 Saturday, 100 Sunday, 100 Monday. We're going into a really hot stretch here, and those heat index values will be 105 to 110 each and every day. So know that the afternoons are going to be brutal. It'll be hot, humid, and there are some chances of rain showing up Memorial Day and then going towards the middle part of next week. And of course, with it being Memorial Day, let me just say a big thank you to all those who have served, and thank you to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Absolutely. It's easy to lose sight of that with everything
With
that's
the
going on
extended
right
weekend,
now as
yeah.
far as the holiday picnics, unofficial start of summer. So again, thank you to all of them. Doesn't take long. All you have to do is visit a place like Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery or Arlington National Cemetery to remember why we remember.
Yes, it's a good weekend to reflect and remember. And I think today and tomorrow, I think the volunteers will be placing the flags over there at Fort Sam National Cemetery.
Indeed. All right, before we leave you now, interesting news that's coming across the wires right now. That Morgan Spurlock, the documentary filmmaker behind the Oscar-nominated Super Size Me, has died of cancer at the young age of 53 years old. More in our later newscasts.
All right, thanks for joining us. Have a good weekend.